or what. Striper maybe? Picked it up as I was drifting back. Yeah, it's gotta be a striper. Yeah, little striper. Makes sense. Might give this a few drifts. It's an interesting way to catch stripers. Alright, easy buddy, easy. Not a big guy by any means. Sorry buddy, no free rides, especially at your size. There he goes. So that last fish has me thinking I'm gonna start doing some drifts. See if we can't pick up some more different species that way. I am fishing real light though, 1/4 ounce jig. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna work behind, because we're in the middle of a streaming tide. I'm gonna start behind a piling, that way I can kind of control the speed at which I drift. And sometimes these backwashes, let me actually pitch that ahead of me because it's gonna take a minute to sink. These backwashes can hold some fish. Flounder, stripers, tog, sheep's head, perch, you name it. I just gotta get to the bottom and we're in business. In theory, I probably should be using a 1/2 ounce jig for this type of fishing. Ooh, something picked it up and dropped it. Actually felt like a good hit too. Ooh, there's some little hits. Dropped it. I'm gonna keep going with the 1/4 ounce for right now, just because it's much easier to fish. Oh, there's a fish. Has a different head shake to it. Maybe a flounder? No, bass. Man, that sure had a different feel to it. And I picked up some decent flounder fishing this way. See, this is a little bit different than what we normally do. Usually I'm fishing behind structure, not drifting along it. But one of the issues with drifting that you run into is you snag up a lot more than you would just sitting behind structure. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. The big reason I like 1/4 ounce jigs for this fishing is the fish don't seem as turned off by that amount of weight. I kind of liken it to flounder fishing in the back bay. If you're fishing super heavy stuff, they do sometimes get real finicky when they could feel that amount of weight when they're picking something up, you know. 1/4 ounce for this type of fishing is probably the ideal weight you want to start out with. I wouldn't really go past 3/4 in the back bay for this type of fishing, just because just a little too heavy in my opinion. But we seem to be holding pretty well with 1/4 at a decent drift speed. We're not going past really a knot, which is pretty good. Passing over some fish right now. Grant, that was over there, but there we go. There we go. That's a cool feeling when you see a fish on the screen and you catch them. That was the fish that we hooked, at least I think. Damn, son. These summer stripers sure do pack some punch. That guy is not big by any means. Look at that. They're just super fired up. This is where I always get myself in trouble. I'll have them spike me. I really should bring some water shoes with me. Now this method of fishing works in the fall too. Honestly, I'll probably this September, October, November, I'll do a video showing you how you can fish this way along the meadows or sod banks. And this is an effective way and a cheaper way to target them if you want to fish bait. A lot of guys swear by live spot, and live spot pretty much are guaranteed fish, at least from where I'm at. But they're very expensive if you buy them. That's why I try my best to try and catch as many as I can at the end of the summer and keep them penned up. Passing fish now. They must be just sitting right behind this little drop off that's in front of me. Because as soon as I hit that same depth, not every time are we picking one up though, but the last 3 drifts we've had fish. Yep, there's some more fish right in front of us. Oh, see that? See that? Oh, son. It's that same ledge every time. And what I think they're doing, it's a contour difference. So they're sitting in that little deep spot, and it's really preventing them from having to work very hard in the current. Oh man. Oh son. They just sit behind that little ledge, and I think any mollusk, minnow, crab that gets washed over it, they're just going to town on. Wow. That's not a bad bass. It's not a big bass by any means, but bigger than the ones we have been catching. He didn't like the sound of that net. I'd rather him get the energy out in the water than on the deck of the kayak, because some of these fish have been so spunky. When you net them and you bring them in, they just start flopping like crazy. Every time I think this fish is done, it just takes another run. Let's see. I think he could be done now. Damn, guess not. There we go. And see, that's actually a keeper-sized bass, which isn't saying much, because with the regulations being what they are, they have to be in such a short slot. Man, that guy was not getting away. Get him out of the net. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Look at this beauty. Got a little bit of rod on the tail, but still a beautiful fish. Ooh. There he goes. Tell you what, one of the things I wish I knew as a younger fisherman was to fish contour depth differences. Younger years, man, like just kind of aimlessly drifted in areas that I thought would hold fish. as I've gotten older, I've learned to look for those differences in depth, because they really do hold fish. And you have to think strategically of how these fish, you know, they're predators. They line themselves up to get into a, there we go, position to feed on struggling bait. That's a small guy. Holy, oh no, yikes. That is not what we came for. Would not be a trip without the oyster toad. Oh man. There's some real snaggy stuff right under me right now. I'm gonna lift the line once we get over that. Oh, fish already picked it up. I literally was lifting it to pick it off that structure. Man. Doesn't really get much better than this. I know the minute I reach for the net, it's gonna swim away. But maybe this guy's done. There we go. At least that striper got it before the mama oyster toad came back. Because there's some big oyster toadfish around this time of year. There it goes. Alright, we have come to that time of the last drift. It's been a pretty productive trip so far, so I can't complain. Regardless if we catch or don't catch, this is the last drift. Just because time's sake, I'm very low on time. See if we can't find some more fish. Passing over some marks, but could be anything. There's fish all underneath me right now. There's a fish. There's a fish. It's hard to want to leave this, to be honest with you. Oh! Cardinal rule, don't lead fish to find fish, but might break that rule to look for something other than stripers. There he is. I'll tell you what though, sure is a lot of fun. There goes the first spine in my foot. Knew it was bound to happen. Gotta invest in water shoes.